Welcome to the Golden Mike podcast, where personal growth simply isn't enough. I'm your host, Mark Cordone, a positive psychology coach, a do-gooder from the island of misfit toys who founded the Joy Revolution. Each week I'll wrap with an extraordinary guest doing extraordinary things through their own revolutionary work to talk about the ups, downs, and all-arounds of life. It's my mission to provoke and empower you through increased joy and inspire you to spark your own revolution to change history for the better. Welcome to the most serious happiness podcast in this multiverse. Welcome to the Golden Mike podcast. Jamine Manke, the Confident Boss Academy founder herself, works with coaches, consultants, service entrepreneurs, any women that are living the dream. And it looks like you're living the dream yourself, Jamine.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm really, really grateful and very blessed to have this kind of lifestyle that I've created for myself.
Yeah, and it wasn't always like that for you. You grew up in Berlin. And I want to know, because when I look at Jamine nowadays, it's Tony Robbins events, it's silver dresses, having conversations from hotels, you know. How was it like in contrast or in comparison to when you grew up in Berlin?
So when I grew up in Berlin, I was actually very shy and very, very held back. So I was very, very scared that people would see me, would approach me. And I was actually brunette. Now I'm blonde, but I was brunette, so I looked quite different. I was quite chubby as well, because when I was 10 years old, unfortunately my dad passed away. So I choose cookies and emotional eating. So I was this very shy brunette. I used to wear glasses. Girl who was not owning her power, who was not confident, and who had a very low self-worth, because I was also very bullied at school. So I was not really enjoying life that much. I was listening, with my hoodie up to like Avril Lavigne and Eminem and this kind of you know what I mean? I was just, and what's it called? Billy Talent, very intense kind of music.
You sound then like I am now.
You're so funny. Yeah.
but talk to me. I mean,
I wasn't really happy. I was putting on this facade. You know what I mean? It wasn't.
Now, did you have dreams on the inside of being happy, or were you just from inside out, it was a pessimistic viewpoint on life?
I didn't really know any better. That was the way, and where I was growing up, I was just I just didn't really see that there was another way. That was the kind of way of life. And that's it, and then, that's kind of I evolved, I got a bit more open. So that's me on the left. I was very shy. I looked a bit happier. That was my 18th birthday when I was starting to be more outgoing.
I might actually have to show this at one point. She has freaking slideshows here with us people.
I'm a visual person. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I was, there we go. I can send you this picture.
Amazing.
Yeah. So I was happy, but wasn't really from the inside. You know how we're the best actors about pretending.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're not.
Now, did you put on a facade that you were happy on the outside?
Oh yeah,
kind of like a clown. They put on a happy face, but they're really empty on the inside.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, definitely, I was doing that. So nobody kind of asked me,
there's nothing wrong with Jamine. Look at her; she's happy all the time.
Exactly. So no, I would mind my own business. I'm gonna send it to you as well, the picture. So yeah, It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But then also, I never realized that you could do what you love, make a lot of money, and get to travel everywhere. You know what I mean? So I never realized that you could have it all, because I was so trained to believe that life is hard. You must suffer, you can't be optimistic, and things like that. There was a lot of sadness to that,
Yeah. Now, where did you pick that up from? Did you pick that up from friends and family? Did you pick that up from the media or from the music you were listening to? Like, where did you get that kind of mindset from?
Before my 10th birthday, before my dad passed away, it was still like quite cheerful, like, so my dad
Yeah.
was very sick, so I was always taking care of him and bringing him food, even at like 5 years old, 6 years old,
Oh,
so because he was paralyzed on one side, so like you couldn't really eat, but I was feeding. So it was like, even though it was that condition, it was still quite cheerful. We would laugh, we would, but then ever since he left, it just turned very dark in my own mind. And I never understood. I never, my mom was all of a sudden gone, working very hard, doing things she must do because, my dad passed away, and they worked in real estate. So it's not like you can just close a practice like a dentist or something,
yeah.
but it's like real houses that needed
Yeah.
taking care of. And, they built the business before, but now she had double the work.
Yeah,
He still even
absolutely.
though he was home, but he was still kind of working,
So they work together. They
Yeah.
work together on a business.
My
Okay.
mom and my dad created a business 35 years ago. They
Okay.
both, so my mom actually, she's Romanian. She fled when she was 18 years old between two train wagons from Romania, from Ceausescu, from all the political interferences
Yeah.
to Germany. And my dad started literally from ground zero too. My mom didn't speak the language. My dad used to, ship coal with a little, the little thingy. And then he bought a horse.
Wheelbarrow.
Wheelbarrow, thank you. I couldn't think of it. Yeah, I was thinking the German word. And then bought a horse, now he could ship even more coal. And then built it from ground zero, both of my parents. And then they met. And then they started building this big company. But my dad literally got so sick because he worked way too hard, which is also, an inspiration for my business, to show people out there that you don't have to literally work yourself to death. And these are quite harsh topics, but nobody talks about it. It's all about the hustle nowadays. But in the end, you don't have to push, because you should be following the path of least resistance, rather than just really focusing on making it happen. And it's a lot of masculine energy, especially for women. So I primarily work with women. But it's not sustainable. It's unhealthy on a consistent basis, because we need that feminine energy. We need that balance. Otherwise, we can't sustain it and stay healthy and happy and sane. You know what I mean?
So there's a lot of grace and ease and joy that we can actually have with our work. You know what, Jasmine, I believe that I grew up with a very similar style. Like, if you're not working hard enough, then you're not trying hard enough, or your passion's not there. You get out of work, and you get out of bed and you work and you work and you work and you work till you can't work anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
With I think on any level, however you want to interpret this, how did your dad's passing affect you?
First, it caused a lot of anger in me.
Yeah.
I was angry, like almost he left me, but he didn't. It wasn't his choice, obviously, and he wasn't suffering.
Yeah.
As a child, I felt abandoned. Like, I had massive abandonment issues, Um, and I never realized that much, because, it triggers in our subconscious, but we're not really aware of it, because we live with, everybody has their own patterns, and you live with them so much that you almost become accustomed to them, and you become blind to them. You don't see them unless you start to shine light into the darkness of what's actually happening. You won't be able to even change or even be aware of it, so to speak.
The mental health person talking about Jungian shadow psychology here. I love it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That definitely helped.
Yeah.
But anyways, I think that's what it happened. But then once I started to have my own business, it almost I was like, now I get to help thousands of women not have the same karma, so to speak. In German, it's called Schicksal, like the same occurrence in their life, so that they can make a change, and they realize that success does not have to be hardship. You do not have to burn yourself out or work to the bone, really work so hard to be deserving of success, or to be allowed to earn a lot of money. And you're allowed to have a lot of fun and make a lot of money. Like
Right.
you have full potential to do that right now with what you have. And it is okay for you to be successful. And almost like people want to get the permission for that.
Now, I haven't walked in your shoes or your heels, but I ostensibly believe that you are feeling happy and are in success. Would you agree with that?
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's interesting because before this podcast, I was like, I don't know if we should reschedule or not because I'm massively up leveling, right? Being fully authentic here with all our listeners, and thanks by the way for tuning in. So grateful that you're here. But I founded the Confident Boss Academy from I attracted a lot of like negative relationships. I attracted a job I wasn't happy in. I was stuck in the 9 to 5. Like the whole typical story. I was literally on the phone day and night working for number one group capital hedge fund in London, in finance department, and I was literally sitting in at my desk 16, 18 hours every single day, where it was a room and then we didn't have a window, no sunlight. Like I love sun, I love light, I love these like completely like, and I love to create. I'm a very creative person. Also like to do business and numbers, but it wasn't fueling my energy. And then I realized, okay, this must stop. Because one day I woke up and I found myself in this abusive relationship where it was very toxic. Unfortunately, it was also physically abusive. So like my self-worth was so low that I allowed these things, because it's not just the person doing it, it's the person allowing it, like equal responsibility. And obviously some parts of myself attracted that kind of relationship into my life. And now I'm grateful for it. It took me a long time to see, but I know what it's like to be in real fear. I know what it's like to lie in bed, look at the ceiling and not feel anything and be afraid and be scared and completely, you don't know what you want. You feel completely numb. And knowing how to get out of that is part of my soul's mission. So finding myself in this job that I hated, completely underpaid, overworked, being stuck in this relationship, I decided within 24 hours, I'm going to leave my job. I'm going to leave my boyfriend, our apartment penthouse next to Harrods. We're both doing very well for business, blah, blah, blah. Considering the hours I was working, it was ridiculous though. And leave the country. So I decided to really go full in on my coaching business.
Now, this wasn't something that you had been pondering for weeks. It literally was a decision over 24 hours.
I think my subconscious started to make ends meet. The plan was, so I did my coaching certification. That's how we connected as well through IPEC.
That's right.
And Bruce actually became a dear friend of mine. We really connected. You know Bruce, right? Yeah.
Bruce D. Schneider. Yeah.
So he's amazing human being, and we really connected. And I was doing the coaching certification because I always like to learn. So I did my bachelor for international business with French. I did 2 bachelors at the same time. Then I did my master's for psychology, mental health, and neuroscience. But then I was like, so what's next? Because I like to do a lot. Like I love to always educating myself. It's very important to me. So I was like, okay, I can do a coaching certification. I realized that communication is definitely what I love. I love helping people.
Jasmine, not to interrupt, but it does feel like you were stacking the deck with accolades and certificates and stuff.
Oh yeah. For sure. I was like, that's my way of safety and security. And I'm very I was doing my certifications because, that's what we're supposed to be doing in a corporate world. Right. And you could see that was that came from a place of security, like lack, not just going for it. And then like that, I mean, it's great to have certifications and masters and bachelors, all that kind of stuff. But it was kind of coming from a place of like, yes, very academic, but also kind of like, and I was talking to Jack Canfield about this as well. He had a similar pattern when we did our interview. It's like, you almost do it to protect yourself, to prove to the world that I'm worth it.
Right.
And when it comes from that kind of energy, it's completely different than, being like, okay, so now I'm here. Oh, I'd love to do like a theta healing course, or I'll do another NLP something, because I want to. Not because I have to, and without it, I don't feel worthy and deserving. So that's another thing. And then, so I was already like, subconsciously, I was like, okay, maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do the certification. I was like, when I'm pregnant and, I can work from home, I can do like coaching sessions. But, that was like far from then. I was like 20 then. Now I just turned 25. So I was already like planning ahead, as I would, super like organized. Like when I'm like 30 and I'll have my first baby, I'll have this coaching certification. I can work from home. Like it was perfect, I never realized how big this big was going to grow. So I'm very fortunate to have gotten in then, but then more and more as I built my business, and my first course was Overcome Fear and Gain Confidence. I was not doing business strategy because I believe in you should practice what you preach. So because if I was pitching, I was doing business strategy, but I didn't even start. Like, how can you do that? So I started to really snowball my business, like clients after clients after clients. So I was like, maybe I should teach that, because people kept asking me, Jasmine, how do you get so many clients? My first client was literally this amazing doctor from Chicago on my module 3 in Chicago. And we did this like peer group coaching. And he liked my coaching so much. He's like, you already have your business card. You already have your business set up. Could you teach me set up my business too? And that's it. That's how it started. And then I realized, okay, I prefer to work with women. Like that's the thing. If you're listening to this right now and you feel like you don't have it all figured out, don't worry. You shouldn't have to. Just start where you're at and things will fall into place. That's why right now, and this is quite funny that this comes up, is because honestly, like right now, I'm going to launch a 1-year-long mastermind because I want to have a deeper and more intensified relationship with my clients. And there's only going to be like 10 to 15 spots maximum per year for this mastermind. It's going to be a 1 year long. It's for women who are already, earning like 10, 20K per month. And it's like a very high level mastermind, because that's where I feel my calling and my direction is going into.
Right. Well, let's talk about this for a second, because I think a lot of people will think that leveling up is almost like a lotus flower blooming, right? It's like easy and graceful and it's happy and stuff like that. But also at the same time, the way that I think about it is when you level up, you are beginning to get rid of old patterns, and that can be very scary. And so for you with leveling up, I mean, the Confident Boss Academy, you could easily stay there for a very long time and do very, very well. But you're talking about calling, you're talking about leveling up. Let's take the makeup and the silver off it right now for a second, and let's talk about it. What does that mean for you to be leveling up?
I think it's being true to your purpose. And my business it started not out of a necessity, such a, like for lack of a better word, like out of demand. Yeah, I provided the supply, in economic terms, because now leveling up means more like being really true to what you actually really are born to be doing, and feeling really connected to your fullest potential, and feel excited about it and allowing it and trusting it. And like, I think you're the second person I'm telling this, by the way, Mark. So like, this is like completely yesterday. I woke up, I spoke to my psychic, like a weekly meeting. It's awesome. My meditation, like all these signs around me. My team today as well, when I announced it, I was like, look, I think we might be going in a different direction a little bit. Not completely. Like I'll still work with female entrepreneurs and all that. And we're still running the Confident Boss Academy. But I want to add something that is really meaningful and really represents the things, because like, I just did a YouTube video about this. Like, I've gotten clients through the craziest ways. Like I've had one client, I was swimming in the ocean and I just spoke about what I was doing, and she signed up right there and then on the beach, and I was wearing a freaking bikini, no website required. Then other clients, I met in the literally, I met in the bathroom line at the ladies' restroom. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, and then one of them also at another beach. I don't know. Beaches seem to be working well for me. But, or on the plane, a stewardess, like so many random things. And it's like, these are things people don't necessarily teach. But I have so many things that are like out of the box that I would love to share with this world. Because there's so many people like teaching the lead magnets and the funnels and the this and the that. And like, great. But I have so much more, like, not that it's better, but it's just something else that people might have not taught yet, because it's a bit out of the ordinary. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what I love about it is that you wake up and every single person that you interact with, you have the ability or potential to serve. I remember I was in a band for 15 years,
Cool.
and what didn't matter was where I was. It was just the way that I engaged and looked at the world. And from that, I could write a song from it. You know, I could write a song from the picture you showed me, or the dings that have happened, or Fraulein that was there earlier. You know, like it was an amazing thing. And to think about that, rather than the feeling of, again, this is not to diss any kind of system, because if whatever works, it works. But like, oftentimes I'll feel like lead generation is like you're squeezing it too hard. You're trying too hard to make something happen. And when you try too hard, all the water that you were trying to hold in your hand squeezes out, you know, when all you really needed to do was just relax and be there in the moment with things for a second. I want to talk about this magical lead generator that you are. For me, it does take a certain type of person that walks around the world that sees themselves as a worthy human. To be able to attract other people who want that worthiness, who want to feel that, who want to walk in your heels for a little bit, right? At what point in your life, Jasmine, did you actually embody it? Like, can you trace that back to a certain point when you were like, I am fucking worthy? And was it that point when it was that 24-hour period where you left your job and your ex? Was it before that? You know?
I think I had a glimpse of feeling worthy once I, you know, because you need a little bit of certainty to kind of jump through that new chapter that you've created. So like the idea was there. So you needed the confidence to be like, okay, this might actually work. Because until you believe it might actually work, you're not even going to try. Yep. So I had a glimpse of it in those 24 hours when I changed my life, basically. But to be really truthful, I think it was 2018 when I signed up for the Platinum Partnership and invested $75,000 into a mastermind, when it was like, okay, like, and then I actually made that money back within like 3 events, because people saw my live streams, people approached me at events, people were messaging me left and right. And it's crazy. But like once I invested, like that was massive. And just making that back so easily, like no struggle. I was like, okay, wow. So I guess, and I already had the Confidence Academy for 4 years. Sure. But it was another like deeper level. Like you think you feel confident, you think you feel worthy, but until you really are like, you know, like the self-love and love yourself and blah, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, BS, you know?
Right.
Until I really felt that, then you know, and you have this sense of freedom, liberation, and you just don't need anything else. Like you're just happy. Like you're just excited. You're grateful. Like there's no struggle. You don't need anything. You just are. Yeah.
This may feel like a total swerve, but I don't feel like it is, because you're talking about removing layers of self and coming into your own, maybe going through different stories of yourself, meeting different folks, right? And that might be through your own dreams. Hey, it's Mark. I hope you're digging the Golden Mike podcast. If you have or are just starting your own revolution fueled by joy, there's a site I created for you. If you, like me, believe that personal growth is simply not enough, if you, like me, are committed to changing history for the better in both micro and macro ways, check out joyrevolution.com. In there, you'll find an archive of our over 200 Golden Mike Live Facebook shows, and of course, our podcast that you're currently listening to. Check out the blogs highlighting how positive psychology and joy theory apply to your everyday life. There's even some cool clips from our Joy Revolution course geared towards influencers, speakers, writers, and change agents. It's all there. Go to joyrevolution.com. That's joyrevolution.com. Let's get back to the episode. What about this ayahuasca experience? What did you learn from that?
So I'm just going to, 1 second before I answer, it's 11:11 right now, so I don't care if it's 11 for you guys. But I want to make sure you guys make a wish right now, no matter what time it is. It's 11:11 right now where I'm at. I'm in LA. But just take a wish right now, because you were talking about dreams and layers. And just take this moment to make a wish, even if it's not 11:11 for you. But I just figured it was so funny. The time came up and I was like, 11:11. Yeah, so the ayahuasca was a very spiritual experience. And I really, that's the way I don't know if you saw that in my YouTube video or not, but the way you described it was exactly how I felt. It was like shifting and taking off layers of self. Yeah. It was almost like this pollution we created around ourselves, and it was just getting washed off and cleaned. And it's, not so much about becoming shinier or anything like that, but you do have that sense of glow, and you do wash away a lot of things, and you really do enter another level of consciousness. Yeah. And step into this new power. Have you ever done ayahuasca?
If I have, I forgot. No, I plan to, but I haven't yet.
No? Okay. I was going to sound like you definitely would remember. Pretty intense thing, but yeah. And it's funny that you asked me about this, because I was just having dinner with my friend Catherine yesterday. Her name is Catherine Zankina. I don't know if you guys know her. She's on Manifestation Babe. That's something. That's her handle. So she's great. She's amazing, beautiful soul. And she kept asking me, Jasmine, I'm gonna do ayahuasca again, but it's gonna be over my birthday in December. So I'm like, I'm probably gonna do it again this year, and it's going to be 7 days. So I only did one ceremony, but you're supposed to do like 5 or 6, which is pretty intense. Like one was already intense.
That's pretty wild.
Whew, yeah, definitely. But if you are aware of that kind of like spiritual up-leveling, it takes away a lot of fear. It takes a lot of pressure. It takes a lot of, like, in general, just uncertainty around yourself. And you just have that freedom to be, and there are no mistakes. Like right now, I don't feel nervous. I get to just be myself, and whatever I say, I trust that's going to be exactly the right thing I'm supposed to be saying. Like there is no right or wrong. Good. And if I want to change things and I want to become better at certain whatever, then, you can then learn the skills to create that, and that's your free will.
And you weren't like that before ayahuasca? Like you'd have sort of a second guess. Very interesting. Did you meet like any ascended beings, and what did they tell you, or
So my ayahuasca experience was actually an insight inside of my entire brain. So it wasn't as much like external for me. I did it with my mom, by the way, you guys.
Amazing.
And she was like talking to the fire, and she was like, like
amazing
to the fire, like at the fireplace. So like she was very much like external, kind of like talking to trees and things. But for me, it was more like internal. It was more like I was just sitting there, and I was like, oh, that makes sense. Okay, that makes sense too. And that makes sense. And I had this list, and I would categorize. I'm like, okay, relationship, business, health, personal.
Oh my God, even during your ayahuasca trip, you had different domains that you looked at.
Yes. And I'm a structured person, but I'm not that crazy structure. I'm more kind of like, when I did my Jack Canfield, like my TV interview with Jack Canfield, and he also did ayahuasca, by the way, a week before I did. So I was like, it's a sign, I should definitely do it. And this girl before me, this woman before me, she had like 10 pages. And I was like, oh, I thought I was just going to kind of wing it, So like, I'm not that much of a structured person to like think, but my brain started to do this, like, okay, this one, yes. And then now, okay, and this question, okay. So I always wanted to wonder about this as well. And it was like everywhere, but it was so nice because usually when I talk like that, other people wouldn't understand because I'm going too fast in too many different directions. And it's like, there's no way to even follow what I'm even thinking about. But because it was just me and my brain, it was even more fast paced, and I really allowed myself. I literally felt like Einstein on fire, Einstein on plant medicine. Because my brain just would explode, and it was amazing. And I wasn't afraid to have these thoughts.
That's amazing. That is amazing. And what year was the ayahuasca experience for you?
Oh, that was 3 months ago.
Oh, so 3 months ago, 3 months ago. So even up to 3 months ago, I mean, I've known you longer than 3 months, but even up to 3 months ago, there were still personas there were still shadows there that would cause fear in you.
There's
Um, I,
always-
I'm interested in if these pieces are pieces that, or how these have changed, because I've heard you say these a couple times, how these have changed based on your dad passing, emotional eating, being bullied, ayahuasca, the fact that maybe you attract clients from your empathy skills, because I'm sensing strong empathy coming from you, Jasmine. An abusive relationship, how everything has changed. For example, the idea that you don't believe in compromise.
no, I don't. I think everybody can have what they want. And there's always a middle ground to make sure everybody's happy. And I also think people don't have to agree. You can just agree to not agree. And I believe the more contrast we have and the more differences we have just means that together we are more. We can be more things. You don't have to be in agreement with others.
You can have controversy with civility. I love it.
That's just another perspective. There's no right or wrong. Things just simply are, right? We know that.
Love it. I love it. Now, which or all of them? Which one was the moment that that you said to yourself, "I don't have to fucking compromise anything"? Was it the Tony Robbins moment? Was it the ayahuasca moment where you busted all your domains up and you started going down the checklist?
I think it definitely, that was the 24 hours where I was like, I'm not happy in this relationship. I'm not happy in this job. So maybe they could have also, it's not just about me, it's about the other side as well. It's about my boss could probably have somebody who'd love that job.
Yeah, absolutely.
My ex-boyfriend could have somebody who would absolutely love that. I don't know who, but you know what I mean? Or maybe he would heal. I don't know. But it just felt like it wasn't right for neither of us. You know what I mean? So it's like,
sure.
And that is okay. So don't just think like it's just on your side, but it's also on the other people's side. And I think when I did that 24 hours, I just realized like people shouldn't compromise. People should ask for what they want and be okay with not being okay. You know what I mean? Like it's just like releasing that resistance. And I think, it's like people that tell you that you're being selfish because you're not, because you're focusing on yourself. It's actually them being selfish because they think you should be focusing more on them than you on yourself. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense. It makes total sense.
There's a lot of like revelations that I got throughout life and throughout the past, last couple of years, from literally building my business and I can tell you this, like I'm very transparent. Like the beginning, my business was not going well. I had to rent out my flat on Airbnb and stay with friends. Now I've made 7 figures, you know what I mean? But the crazy thing I did, and I quote Jay-Z on this, is not give up. That's literally, the crazy thing we did was not give up. Jay-Z said that. So it's like, that's the truth. Yeah.
Well, I want to ask you this, you freestyle flower, you, and you talked about it. It's there's so much resistance that we push up against rather than understanding that the obstacle is the way. A lot of people will say that, right? For you, what is the resistance that you're feeling right now?
The resistance was, well, I feel like this morning, or like yesterday morning, I had this, because I was pushing something into this direction where I just took a kind of this stop and asked myself, like, am I even having a lot of fun with this still? Oh. Or is it time to grow and expand and up level and do different things? And, of course, it's like, oh my God, what is my team going to say? Are they going to be on board with this mission? Because I have a team of 5, all full-time employees. So like, it's like, it's not just me in it anymore. And I have current clients. I have clients that are still signing up and are excited. But it's like allowing the path of least resistance and trusting it and not being impatient. Mm-hmm. It's like sometimes my clients as well, they're like, well, how long is this going to take? I'm like, it doesn't matter. This is where you're going. That's what you should be focusing on. Not like, who cares how long it takes? If that's your soul's mission, then who gives a shit? How long it takes.
Exactly.
That's what we're doing. And just feeling free. Like, I think that's where I have a lot of resistance released. Just share what you want to share. Be the way you want to be. And then it's going to feel good. Then it's never going to drain you. But if you're putting on a facade and pretending and thinking like there's a way you have to be, and that's the way you should be showing up, and all these things. What if there isn't a way you should be? You just get to be yourself, and that's perfect. That's exactly what the way.
I love when you get rid of the should and you put the word get in there. I love getting rid of them shoulds. I want to talk about this because I'm coming back full circle from where you came, and then talk about how it's affecting you now. Being at the mercy of bullies, a lot of people are bullied, right? And a lot of people end up becoming people pleasers or being very sensitive to the haters, right? You dress like a celebrity, my friend. And so I could see yourself putting yourself out there in a way that that could garner a lot of negative like haters, maybe even bullying. I don't know. But I also see you as being an empathy person, like a total empathizer. So like, how do you deal with the hate? Basically, are you gonna give me a Jay-Z song for this one too? Because he's pretty good about dealing with the haters.
First of all, the most important thing is not making it about you that are hurting. And I just send them love, and I feel their pain. And there was actually a quote that I had. It's like, confidence is quiet, but uncertainty is really loud. Like, the next time anyone puts you down, remember that confidence is quiet, but insecurities are loud as fuck. So a quote in my book. So it's like I just feel, I'm not just saying I feel sorry for them, but it's like, and I reply, I'm like, you must be really hurting. I'm really sorry to hear that you're hurting.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry this is triggering you, but you might as well use this and see what it is triggering you. Because if you get angry and you have, like, I get angry when I get angry, because I get angry with myself when I get angry, because this is like a shadow of my past triggers. Or when you see somebody and it annoys you, don't get annoyed. Ask yourself, why does it annoy you? Do I do the same thing? Because it's not about them, really, is it? It's about
oftentimes
yourself.
a mirror. Yeah.
It's always a mirror. You always meet people and they're like, wow, and that's the thing. You should really just, first of all, be grateful, because obviously people are talking about you, so you must be important. So if you have to be like, well, I guess I'm still alive. As long as people, my mom said this to me actually. She's like, her great grandmother was like, as long as people are still talking about you, at least you're still alive and people still care about you and you're doing something interesting. So it's like, that's just like, congratulations on that one. You're obviously a very important person. And that's like, take it with humor. I always think as well, like, humor is what keeps us sane through dark.
But was it hard for you at first when you started leveling up and you were starting to hear? Yeah.
Oh my God. Me, 2000, I think like 16, like 4 years ago, sweating, first live video ever. I was like, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go live and I'm going to say one quote, like, if you don't take responsibility or something, blah, blah, blah. One quote, I go live. I can literally have like, I just like sweat patches. Like, I'm putting that dress. Like, I was like shaking, like, oh my God. Like, okay, I'm going to say this one quote. And this idiot hops online, a guy from my old school, shut up and take off your top. And I went offline and I started crying and I felt humiliated. Now I'm like, I literally respond back to these people. Like, it's fun for me. I'm like, bring it on, and then it ended there, like, love you, Jasmine, like, now I know how to figure it out. And then they're like one of my like biggest followers, on Instagram. This actually happened. This person was like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And I was like dressing them. I was like, actually, you know what? And then they're like, oh, love this live video. And they like shared my video and stuff. So really funny. But anyways,
that is amazing. Yeah. That is amazing. I think it's funny because 4 years later, it's not launching, but your YouTube channel is up. And I don't think there's a drop of sweat on that YouTube channel.
From the heavy dancing to
with the heavy dancing to it. it's amazing looking at your, like, I thought you'd be saying like, oh, 2007. You're literally talking about just a couple of months ago that this happened. So I think you're a living testament to like sort of the quantum jumps that people can make, or sort of the ecstatic meteoric rise that people can have when they change their mindset around to something that's absolutely wild, and not believing in compromise. You also believe in being at the right place at the right time. How do you know where is the right place and the right time?
I mean, if your intentions are clear, then there is no way you can't, there's no way you can miss it. You know, if your intentions are clear, and I have I use the 5-minute journal. I don't know if you guys know it, but it's like always like, this day will be great if, or like when, or whatever. And then you set your 3 intentions for the day, and I just trust that they're going to happen. And it's also not looking for reasons that it's not working.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
It's like, you know, we almost have this little like gremlin inside of us, and you're like, see, I told you so, it didn't work. You know? It's like you're almost looking for a reason for it not to work. And be like, oh, you see, it didn't work.
Yep,
you launched a product and nobody signed up. It's like we almost look for this like ego inside of us.
Your gremlin has a heavy German accent.
No, whatever. So like, you know, like you almost look for this like idiot inside of you who's gonna, you know, put it in your face.
Well, it was the RAS. You were in mental health. It was the RAS, the reticular articulating system. Mm-hmm. If we only see, or if we're told to only look for the yellow cars, we'll miss all the other cars.
Yeah,
and
sure.
It's the same thing, but in so many ways. You know, we do it with our own lives. I know that we have 2 minutes left, so I'm going to ask this really quickly. But but before I even go there, what were the three things you asked or you put in your journal today?
Oh my God, what are the 3 things? The first thing was literally have a vegan breakfast and sunshine here in LA, and I did. It was gorgeous, and I was running back with my smoothie in my hand. I'm late for the podcast.
Oh my God.
Running back like a crazy person.
Amazing.
The second one was just, you know, have fun on this podcast. And that was like, just have fun on this podcast, show up, and because I was a bit concerned. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to share. And remember, I told this to you, I was
absolutely.
Like, it's transitioning phase. I was like, should we reschedule? I was like, you know what? Actually, this is exactly perfect. I'm trusting that whatever you say is exactly what you should be saying in this moment. And this is going to help and give so much to so many other people who maybe exactly need to hear this, that it's okay to not have everything figured out right now. And like, everything's still running, you know, we're signing clients up, like everything's great. But it's like, now what else would I like to do? And it's okay to come on and say, hey, you know what? I don't actually know right now. And that's okay, because I'm going to take today to just feel like I've canceled the rest of the meetings, actually. And I'm just going to ask myself all day long, what do I love talking about? Where do I light up the most? Because that is what I should be sharing, because that is where I can transform the most lives, and which is where I'm going to be. Because you basically need to find something you would do for free anyways, and you just would love doing. And,
absolutely.
And it's awesome, you know? And then the other thing, the third thing was I'm also going to have lunch with a very inspiring business mentor as well. So I'm really excited for that too. So
amazing.
So yeah, awesome. Yeah, that was that for today.
So 2 for 3, baby. 2 for 3. Yeah. Let's make it 3 for 3. Yeah, you know, before I'm going to get to one part where I want to ask how you embody joy. But when all the personas, when all the loud happiness, the confidence, you know, when you're by yourself, no one else is looking. What is that Jasmine like? Is she very quiet? Is she still that very quiet person? Is she reading? Like what does that look like?
So I have Alexa programmed that when I say good morning, Alexa. She literally reads my affirmations. Good morning, Queen Jasmine. Today is a great day if you decide to make it so. Love yourself and cherish your body. Like, you know, and your body's a temple, like whatever. And then she starts playing Pitbull and I go absolutely crazy. I have my coffee, which is like actually not very necessary, but I'll have my coffee. I'll have my probiotics, all my, you know, my stuff. And then I do my meditation and I start dancing and like it's in my visualization. I shout my affirmations in the shower, you know, I'm like, yes, and this, and I like to have a lot of fun, and I'm actually a very silly, playful person, and I like to keep that. And I used to think that that's childish, but there's a difference between being childish and childlike and playful. And I enjoy that. And yes, you can still make a lot of money and be childlike and enjoy yourself and have fun. And that's really so important to me, to share that, you know. And it's also like, you know, inspirations like Sarah Blakey, you know, one of the first self-made billionaires out there with Spanx. You know, if you guys know her, she's like, I just saw her Instagram and she's like, it was like her 49th birthday and like her 10 best friends, and they literally created Spanx with Sarah's face on the freaking leggings. There's like thousands of Sarahs on the legging. Like just like small fun things. Like why not? Why the hell not? You know?
Why the hell not is true. And you know what? When if you look at some of your videos on YouTube, you talk a lot about making sure that your brain, your mindset is correct, but that it's connected to the heart. And then when it's connected to the heart, that's like when the childlike wonderment starts coming out. That's when sort of, you know, levity is such a big deal to, you know, have that in your life. I absolutely love it. Okay, it's the lightning round. I know that we're 2 minutes over, so I'm going to ask this. I'm going to ask you how you embody joy, Jasmine, and essentially go as long or as short as you want, and answer it however you want.
So how I embodied joy was, I think, through dancing. Like that's what I was saying, and just doing like the playful. That was kind of my answer, because I feel like just doing what you want to be doing and giving yourself permission to in that moment is huge.
So that's joy. Joy feels like dancing.
Yes. Just
okay.
Like it can be in a form of reading a book and sitting quietly. But if that's what I want to be doing in the moment, then that's what I get to be doing. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It could be dancing and going crazy, and like you said, at Tony Robbins events and all that stuff, or just smiling. Like I love smiling at people. I love asking people, like, generally, like, how are you? You know, like actually asking people and being there and being like and listening and being present. Like these are so many different ways of joy. Joy has so many ways, and I think it's super important for people as well that we make the ways that count as suffering smaller, because some people have, you know, a highway to hell and a dirt road to happiness. It should be the opposite way. You should have so many ways to be happy that it's almost impossible for you not to be.
Well, let's talk about a couple more ways about joy. Joy smells like.
Joy smells like I love fresh cut grass.
Amazing. What about this? Joy sounds like.
Joy sounds like sometimes silence, like inner listening as well. Like I like, because I was just listening, and that was quite joyful. Amazing.
Joy looks like
vibrant colors and a lot of movement. And
I had my fingers crossed. I was like, I think she's gonna say pink, but no, vibrant colors.
Yeah, all of them, right? No compromise.
No compromising.
I like
Joy.
all of them.
Yeah, all of them. Absolutely. Joy tastes like.
Oh, I like French fries a lot, so French fries and mayonnaise.
I love it.
And vanilla ice cream.
Oh my gosh! I hope when you're over in LA, you go get one more In-N-Out burger before you leave.
Oh, I've not had that one yet.
Oh, get them and get the French fries animal style. There's nothing like that I've ever had. Finally, this one's a little bit different. I'm going to ask you about your joy revolution. Now, this is either the inner revolution that you've had caused by joy, or the revolution in the rest of the world that you've started as a result of joy. but either way, they're being led by joy. So what is your joy revolution?
My joy revolution. Could you specify the question? Because otherwise I could talk for hours.
I know. So, well, number one is it could be a revolution is an upheaval of any kind, and in many ways it could be the upheaval of your business right now, the changing of your business led by joy, or it could be the person that you were growing up, Jasmine. And then sort of that spark of joy on the inside that completely changed who you were and are. So really, there's multiple joy revolutions that you are leading, and there's multiple joy revolutions that you've been through. But what's the one that's really showing up right now and handing itself to you like a gift right now and saying, "Ooh, pick me, pick me"?
I like the way you phrase that at the end. I think it's being unapologetic about my desires. So like, not like saying, oh, I want this because I think this is going to be the one that sounds good and everybody's going to agree with. Mm-hmm. But this is the one thing I actually want. Mm-hmm. And being like standing in your truth, like being surrendering to that and allowing and having no judgment and following through on it, and then not being scared of not being like, okay, is this okay? Yes, it is freaking okay. Go do it if you want to be doing this, like, you know, and giving yourself permission and moving forward in so many different ways. Yeah.
I absolutely love it. Jasmine, I could probably talk to you like 3 hours longer. That was an hour with Jasmine that went like this. I mean, that's what flow feels like, baby. I hope we get to talk again in the future. I know that you're leaving town soon and you're getting some French fries, hopefully, and you're going to be doing some great things. That's Jasmine. Everything is on our site in terms of her website. If she made any changes, it's all there in the show notes. Jamine Manke, thank you so much for being on today. Everyone listening, for your sake, for my sake, for shit's sake, for our sake, start your revolution in joy, in love, in light, in shadows, and in joy. This is Mark Cordone. Have a good one. Take care. Bye. I hope you enjoyed the Golden Mike podcast. There's more good stuff coming your way. But until the next episode, let's stay in touch, yes? Find us on Instagram as The Joy Rev, or communicate with like-minded revolutionaries in our Facebook group. Search The Joy Revolution Underground. And of course, don't forget to check out the classes, articles, blogs, and some serious fun at joyrevolution.com. That's joyrevolution.com. Now, until then, what will you do to change history for the better? Let's go out and play, shall we? Press start to begin.